everybody! It's time for a new story or theme discussion. What is it with Netflix releasing some really great animated films lately? I like this one, it made me weep. This one also made me weep, but because I was laughing. And I like this one too, it was just really solid. But I think the one I'm going to talk about today is actually my favorite out of all of these. So let's get right into it. Oh, and a bit of a spoiler warning, just so you're aware. So Vivo is about this little orange kinkajou of the same name, and he is a street performer with this old man named Andrés in Havana, Cuba. Vivo was rescued by Andrés when he was a baby, and they've been best friends ever since, but their comfy little life is upended when Andrés receives a letter from his long-lost love, Marta. Marta is also grown old, just like Andrés, but she wants to see him again. They haven't seen each other in years, and she would like for him to perform with her at her farewell concert in Miami. Andrés is overjoyed because now he finally has a second chance to tell Marta that he's always loved her, in the form of a song he wrote for her that he never showed her. Vivo initially does not like the idea of such a big change to their comfy little life, but he eventually gives in and supports Andrés. But unfortunately, the next morning, Vivo awakes to find that Andrés is gone. Like, actually gone. He passed away in his sleep. We're only 10 minutes into the movie and this is what happens. Ouch. Vivo is grief-stricken, but he feels obliged to deliver the song to Marta himself. So in spite of his fear of change, Vivo sneaks into the suitcase of Andrés' grandniece named Gabby, who lives in Florida. Vivo ends up begrudgingly teaming up with Gabby because he soon comes to realize that he can't really manage in the big city on his own. And I think that about sums up the movie's premise. Now I think this movie has a lot that we can take away from it, but for simplicity's sake, I'm going to try to sum it all up in one theme, although I'm not saying that's the only way you can see it. That's just one particular way that I see it. But I think this movie sort of asks the question, is it too late? The characters are often saying things like, it's not too late, or tell me it's not too late. Is it too late? You know, that kind of thing. So more specifically, is it too late to finish what you've started if you fail, when a dream dies, or when your plans fall apart? After Andrés dies, Vivo is very lost. Aside from Havana and music in general, Andrés was all he had. Andrés told Vivo earlier in the movie that after Marta left, everything else felt empty. I think that's exactly how Vivo feels here. Those other things just don't have the same meaning anymore. The only solace Vivo can find initially is to finish what Andrés started. He's not ready to move on still, but it is one step forward. When Vivo is forced to team up with Gabby, first impressions aside, I think he can recognize that she isn't as bad as she seems and that she has good intentions, but it's still really hard for him to get along with her. Vivo is very passionate about music, and Gabby seems to have no respect for the principles that make music. And on top of that, Vivo is offended at Gabby's idea that she and him are instant BFFs. In his mind, no one, especially not her, could ever replace that bond that he had with Andrés. According to him, they were perfectly in sync. But him and Gabby, well, they couldn't be more out of sync. It's not until close to the end of the film that he starts to realize that he and Gabby are forming a bond together, and while different, it actually does have some similarities to what he and Andrés had. Somehow, this weird girl seems to be exactly what his broken heart needs. When the song for Marta is eventually accidentally destroyed, Vivo is convinced that he's failed his old friend. He even says that after Andrés gave him everything, he turned his back on him when he really needed him. And now that the song is gone, he's officially let him down. But you know what? The only bad thing Vivo really did was just get angry and sulk for a minute. The thought of leaving Havana frightened him. Understandably, he's never been anywhere. And at first, it seemed like that big of a journey was just too much of a sacrifice for only one song. But all it really takes for Vivo's heart to change is remembering the first song that Andrés ever played for him when he was a baby, when they first met. That song literally changed his life. One song could be so important to someone, to Andrés, to Marta. So Vivo puts aside his own needs for a greater purpose. It's normal that Vivo feels terrible that his last conversation with Andrés so happened to be an argument. But Andrés dying was completely out of Vivo's control. No one would have blamed Vivo if he just gave in to his feelings of despair, but instead he chose to carry on. all by himself, in spite of his fear. That's just remarkable. Vivo is doing all this for a friend who is gone, and for a woman he has never even met. So even though Vivo is essentially telling the audience that he is a bad friend, no, I don't buy it. Andrés couldn't have asked for a better friend. The film shows us through the visual of Vivo being unable to place a rose on Andrés' memorial that he can't truly say goodbye to him. He just can't accept that it's over. He literally begs and pleads for just one more song together. He can't let go because if he does, there's nothing left to hold on to. It's not until he's accomplished what he set out to do that he can finally put that rose down. And when he lets it go, he realizes that it isn't over. He thought that once he'd accomplished his mission that it would be, that this was all there was left for him to do. But on the journey, he discovered more. Now he has new songs to sing. He has a new family, and even a new music partner, in Gabby of all people. Sometimes it's really awful things like death or some other kind of loss that really opens the door for new dreams for us, even better than we could have ever imagined. In the end, Vivo more than just delivers the song for Marta and the knowledge that Andrés loved her. He finds healing and closure for her and for Gabby in her relationship with her late father, but most of all, for himself. So without explicitly saying it, I think the movie answers the earlier question with a firm no. It's not too late. Not when life throws you curveballs, not when you fail, not even when something or someone precious dies. Even then it's not too late. Your song doesn't have to be over. You just need to sing. Sing louder than your fear. Play on and keep the beat going.